What up, everyone? It's Fallen. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Dishsoap's 3.2 augment selections on patch 14.1b. I think 3.2 is one of the most pivotal points of the game, and a lot of people that I watch and coach, I think about it in the wrong way. So let's see what Dishsoap does here. We're going to take a look at his spot first. So he has 4 Cypher in. He has all these open components. He's going into 3.1. He's pre-level to 6, and from the looks of it, he's probably angling to play some sort of Cypher cash out into Zeri or Zed. So let's see what he does here. Let's see if he makes some slams before 3-2.
I'm not going to kill anything with slams.
Okay, yeah, so he says slamming's basically not going to help at all. So he decides not to slam. This is a really important decision because not slamming components here basically leaves him open to more lines. Like, let's say he were to slam Last Whisper, it would mean he has less components for Ginsu's, and he might get an even shroud down the line. I mean, there's a lot of things he could have slammed, but it wouldn't have made a difference because his whole team's targeting a Jarvan 2, and his whole team is 1 star. So now he has 3 options: Blazing Soul, Cybernetic Implants, and Sword Overflow. I think immediately what I would be thinking is Blazing Soul is definitely not the pick. I think Cybernetic Implants is pretty good because you're going to have a few carries that are AD in this comp. Traditionally speaking, you have usually Zeri, Zed as your main DPS. So I do think Cybernetic Implants is worth considering. Sword Overflow, I think, is really good in this particular spot because he has a lot of components that can be used with swords. So he can make a Shojin. This allows him to make an IE. He can make a Ginsu's. He can make a Gunblade. And then he has Deathblade with a leftover sword. So I do think I would be leaning Sword Overflow here. But I would definitely roll the first 2. So let's see what he does. So Radiant Relics is obviously only good for reroll comps. The main thing about Radiant Relics is it's really good if you have one carry that's doing all your DPS. And in this case, you're usually playing Zeri and Zed. I also want to talk about his Exotech item. Earlier in the game, he mentioned the fact that he has Flux Capacitor, or the yellow one, which is Zeri's best Exotech item. So I think he's leaning towards playing 2 carries, Zeri and Zed. So Radiant Relics is not good. Tiniest Titan, I just think is a really bad augment. I mean, you're getting 2 player health and 1 gold after every combat and 15 gold now. So basically your Prismatic is like 15 gold plus 5 this stage. It's 20 gold this stage and 10 health. I mean, it's really not that good. Even though he's playing Cypher, you would think this is the spot to take it. I just really think it doesn't do enough. Also, he already has Hedge Fund, and going double econ is traditionally thought to be bad. I mean, it just is bad, honestly. So, yeah, I think Sword Overflow is definitely the correct pick here. I'm sure his chat's going to have a meltdown about him not taking Tiniest Titan. Maybe let's listen a little longer to see if he gives any insight. Yeah, they're complaining that he didn't take Tiniest Titan. And yeah, he makes all the slams. Ginsu's Gunblade for Zeri, Shojin DB IE for Draven, and he has an open sword for his Zed items.
Explain it. The augment gives you like 15 gold.
Yeah, I mean,
your Prismatic is 15 gold and 1 gold a turn.
Dishsoap's just saying that it's
nice, man.
Really bad.
I have Hedge Fund.
And he already has econ. There's no need.
And it's gonna heal me like what? How much HP is it gonna be? Like 10? 10 HP and like 20 gold? That's your Prismatic?
Yeah, it's really not good. And also, if you think about it, just having these items slammed right now is probably going to allow him to save even more HP than the 10 HP he's going to save from now to 4-2. So, all around, it's just a worse augment. It's just a really bad Prismatic, and he already has Hedge Fund, so cool. All right, let's go look at the next 3-2. So before we move on to the next game, actually, let's take a look at where his spot ended up being. So he, yeah, ended up playing Flux Capacitor on Zeri, Zed with IE, BT, Blue Buff, um, some AD items on Garen 2, Draven with the 3 items that he initially slammed, and Sejuani with Vow Even Shroud. Um, he ends up going fourth after he loses this fight, and he was sort of complaining that this guy swapped his brand every turn except this turn. So he's obviously positioned on the wrong side because with Zed positioning, you want it to be 3 from the edge, but you want it to be on the same side as the carry. And in this case, the carry is Brand, not Samira. So he wants his Zed over here and his Sejuani next to the Zed so that it'll stun the Brand. Yeah, so kind of unfortunate that he mispositioned here, and he ends up losing the fight and going fourth. But yeah, pretty not a bad game by any means.
Okay. Well, that's not good. Bro.
All right, so we're in the next game. This is his spot on 3-1. He has Anima Squad Crest. He's on a 4 streak, so he lost on 2-1. Um, and it looks like he's playing some sort of Anima line, obviously, given his spot. Obviously, on 3-1 here, he wants to preserve his streak going into Augment selection. So he could make a decision to level if he thinks it's going to be important in winning the next fight. So let's see what he does on 3-1 before we go into 3-2.
Loving here is close to being okay.
Right, so it's probably okay if it's going to win him the fight.
I actually think it's fight diff.
Okay, and he thinks it's going to win him the fight, so...
I mean, I hope
so
it's fight
he
diff, because
decides to
why would
level.
I do it? Why would I do it otherwise? My bad.
Okay, it wasn't fight diff.
Like, this is like multiple placements,
Yeah, that's a really big mistake. Okay,
potentially.
so, yeah, it's obviously a really big mistake there from Dishsoap. Obviously, you want to keep your 5 streak, but there's not really a point in leveling if it's not going to win you the fight. It's also unfortunate that he rolled into the guy that was strongest in the lobby, because I think if he fought the other guys, he probably would have won the fight. So now let's look at the augments here. I think Overheal and Vampiric Vitality are pretty bad. Starry Night is never takeable in the spot. After you have Anima Squad Crest, I mean, you're clearly playing Vertical Anima. And Climb the Ladder is really good with vertical comp, so I would be defaulting Climb the Ladder here. I think Overheal is and Vampiric Vitality are something that are augments that are really good when you're playing melee carries. So if you're playing something like Zed, Rengar, etc., Rost, Hero Augment, Alter Ego, I think it's called, like things like that, it would be good on. But in this situation, both of those are pretty bad. So let's see what he does. Okay, he rolls both of those. Now he gets the Last Stand, Cybernetic Uplink. So Cybernetic Uplink is decent, but in Anima Squad you really only have 2 carries, maybe 3. So I think it's not really even worth considering. Last Stand, it's also better on comps that need to cast a lot, like AP comps. Last Stand, it's kind of like a win out augment. Like if he were in a bad spot right now, maybe I would take Last Stand if he had no upgrades and had a really weak board. It's generally like if you're playing Cypher or something like that, and you're gonna spike way later. But in this case, he's gonna have a strong board probably throughout the game, because Anima Squad is a vertical comp, and Climb the Ladder is one of the best augments with vertical comps, because you're gonna be benefiting from all the units dying, and buffing up all of your carries and tanks. So yeah, I'm guessing he takes that. It also gives +4 gold, which is important to consider. Yeah, so he takes to Climb the Ladder.
Helps a little bit, I guess.
Now we'll see. We'll fast forward to the end of the game and see how he places before we move on to the next one. All right, so this is the last fight of the game. He ends up going 5th here, and yeah, I mean he didn't get to fully cap out his board. I also think this comp isn't the best. You kind of have to have crazy tempo to play it. But all around, I think he took a really good augment on 3-2. So it was probably something else that caused this game to be a 5th. In some games are just a 5th, and you have to accept that. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. All right, so we're in the next game. This is Dish Soap spot going into 3-2. He's on 3-1. He has a Reforger, 2 chains, and open tier. He's playing TF reroll. He has Ginsu's Gunblade slammed on a TF2. He also has too much value, so he already has a lot of econ going in here. In terms of slams, he could slam a Bramble. I would only slam a Bramble here if the lobby is heavily AD. Otherwise, I'd probably reforge the vest. There's a lot that you could do with other components. I mean, if you get a belt, you get Sunfire. If you get a bow, you get Shiv. So, yeah, I think it's pretty bad to have 2 components if it's not a super AD heavy lobby. But otherwise, you could just save the Reforger and slam the Bramble if a lot of people are angling Zeri or some sort of AD comp. So let's see what he does here on 3-1. I'm guessing he's not going to level to 6 here. Sure, it'll get him rapid fire or yeah, probably rapid fire, but uh, he's on a 1 loss streak. He also needs a lot of gold to hit this comp, and he's going to want to stabilize probably after the augment selection on 3-2 using his rolls at 6. So it's just better to save the gold here. Let's see what he does, though.
All right. Let me just first check if Bramble's good.
Yeah, okay, 2 AD players, 3 AD
Kind
players,
of is.
4 AD players, 5 AD players.
It's actually cracked.
Oh, yeah, it's really good. Almost the
Like,
entire
do I
lobby
want to
is
reforge
AD.
tier? It's like, oh, maybe.
And now he's considering whether he should reforge tier or not, but yeah, so he slams the Bramble, and now we're at 3-2. Okay, so he gets Cloning Facility, Healing Orb, Spear's Will. Just off the rip, I think Spear's Will is really bad in this comp. I would basically insta-roll it because he's playing an AP carry TF, and you don't really need another sword. He already has a Gunblade, so it's pretty bad. I would for sure insta-roll Spear's Will. Between Cloning Facility and Healing Orbs, I think Healing Orbs is better on melee carries, like if you're playing Zed or something. The problem with Cloning Facility is, you want your Darius 3 to be in the front, and you don't really want to clone him. You don't have like a really good unit to clone. That being said, getting 2 3-star Dariuses or 2 3-star, what's that tank name? Skarner would be really good. So if I had to guess, he's probably rerolling 3 first, then he's probably rerolling 2, and defaulting 1 if the other options are bad. Wow, okay, so Trade Tracker. I mean, Dishsoap is one of the best Trade Tracker players in the game. I could see him taking this here. I probably would never take this. It's just too much thinking. You have to, because you have to stay 6 for a while to hit your comp. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he skipped it here, but he's also just, a 2-time world champion, so maybe he takes it here and finds a way to cash it out quickly.
I think I'm good in the trade tracker. Although, that's already 1, 2, 3, 4. No. Stop.
Yeah, I mean, even he realizes it's going to be a little too much, so, yeah, obviously his chat wants him to take it, but...
Stop it.
Okay, keep your friends close. I've actually never seen this augment. Syndicate Kingpin's game 10% attack speed and 120 health for each adjacent ally in their row. The allies gain 175 health. Gain a Twisted Fate and a Darius. I think that's actually pretty good. Because 10% attack speed for each ally in their row and 120 health. I mean, actually, it might be pretty bad until you get to 5 Syndicate. Because in reality, you're... well, he does have a Gargoyle Slam, so he's solo frontline, he's Darius. Then he can put everything else in the back, and it buffs up his TF and gives the rest of his team health. Yeah, I could see it. I don't know. I'm not really sure whether this is a good augment or not, but like this would probably be the spot to take it if it is good. I'd probably prefer it to Cloning Facility though, so I'd probably roll Cloning Facility, but we'll see what he thinks. Yeah, it's never epoch because you can't go double econ, so yeah, let's keep your friends close. Interesting. See if he talks a little more about this. If not, we'll just move on.
Okay, I'm kind of done rolling though.
Yeah, oh, and he decides not to roll anymore after he hits Darius too, because he sort of has all his upgrades, and he hit an MF on 6, or on 5 actually. So he might as well just get econ up to 50 and then roll down again. Wow, and he does decide to reforge
Yeah,
the
that's
tier.
definitely worse.
It's
But
definitely way worse.
guess
Cool. So let's see how he ended up placing this game, and then we'll move on to the next one. All right, so this is the final fight of the game. Dishsoap was talking about how he doesn't really think this comp is that good, but obviously all comps are good situationally, and he thinks he played it from a super high roll spot with basically the best conditions ever. Um, yeah, and he ended up taking a first, so I guess the Syndicate's Augment is pretty good with TF reroll. So, all right, let's do one more game, and we'll call it a day. All right, so we're in the next game. It's 3-1. He's playing Cypher. He's on a 2 streak with a Draven 2 and an extra copy on bench. Um, yeah, so at this point, I would probably want to preserve my streak uh, going into the Augment selection round. Um, but let's see what he decides to do. If I had to guess, he's probably slamming a Negatron and Tier, what is that called? Adaptive Helm on frontline. He's really lacking frontline, so I could see that happening. I probably wouldn't want to slam a Rabadon's just because you don't really have a real AP user in this comp. But maybe if he thinks it makes a fight diff, I could see him slamming it. That being said, the Augment's coming up here and he might get something that fixes items. Like, remember last time we saw him with the Sword Overflow that really fixes components, and at least then he could have a Gunblade and maybe open Rod, open Sword. Uh, but let's see what he does here.
I will wait and see if I need to slam or not.
Okay, yeah. So he slams the Adaptive Helm and waits
But
waits on the Rabadons.
I
He
will slam
decides
if I
not
have
to
to.
level.
The
What do
like the guy looks strong at all. Level 6. Yeah, whatever,
Oh,
man.
yeah. Okay, so he slams it. He thinks it's gonna make the fight diff. So yeah, I mean, probably did. Probably
You think
did
I'm
make the
killing the
fight
front
diff.
line as fast as I did without a 15% and whatever like base damage the AP does?
Yeah, so he does think it made the fight diff. Now, yeah. See, so replication would have been really good because he could have had Ginsu's if he rolled a bow, or he could have Morello, um, Morello Warmogs with belt. Tears really bad. Gloves pretty bad. Yeah, I mean replication would have been a decent take if he had the open rods, but I think going into a going into a 3 streak is pretty good. So yeah, it's probably definitely not replication now. Uh, now that he has everything slammed, Noble Sacrifice isn't bad. I think Trade Tracker is actually pretty good in this spot. You're already losing with Cipher. Um, I mean, you're actually not losing with Cipher. He's on a 3 streak with a Draven 2, but if you take Trade Tracker here, you're definitely not continuing your streak. That being said, Cypher's a pretty weak trait, so he's probably bound to lose some fights this stage anyways. So maybe he just accepts that, takes Trade Tracker, cashes it out into a Giga win out. I could see that happening. I don't think it's ever Noble Sacrifice, so I'm definitely rolling Noble Sacrifice and Replication. Let's see what he thinks here. Yep, Replication's gone. I think all that Shimmers is actually not that bad. You get a Collector and some gold. I couldn't see him taking Gamblers or anything else, but Collector's pretty good on Draven. Yeah, it's definitely not Noble Sacrifice. Wow. He actually decided not to take Trade Tracker, which is kind of surprising. Uh, let's listen a little more and see if we can hear his logic behind that. And yep, there's the Collector. And now you got to remove the Rabadons off your Zed. Maybe find a better carry for it.
I think I don't roll, but it's actually pretty close.
Yeah, so he's deciding not to roll and just putting the Rabdons on Skarner.
I think it's legitimately pretty close if I'm meant to roll or not.
So yeah, maybe he's not going to talk about the fact that he didn't take Trade Tracker. Um, I'm guessing he just wanted to push his streak. Sorry, yeah, I mean he wants to make his board as strong as he can for this stage, and Trade Tracker is sort of like a win-out trait, similar to last stand, and he thinks his board is good enough to streak the rest of stage 3. So let's see what happens. All right, so this is the last fight of the game. I watched a little more of his stage three. He didn't really talk about the augments, but he also did not full streak the stage. He ended up sort of win loss, win loss. Um, and he ends up going fifth here. I think part of the
How's Gold
problem
Collector
is he
farmed?
doesn't have any
22.
healing items.
It was very good to
Um,
me.
he ended up cashing out his Zenith Blade. He doesn't have any healing items on his Renekton or his Zed or his Garen. So it's just kind of unfortunate the way things worked out with his
Oh god, he
items.
has Prismatic Ascension. My
Um,
board is not very fast at killing stuff.
yeah, and he ends up fighting this TF board that's, I mean, pretty capped.
Hopefully the other guy didn't fight a ghost or anything. I
And
think he's fighting a ghost. He
the
is
guy
fighting
that
a ghost.
was
He is
in
fighting a
fifth
ghost.
fought a
He is
ghost.
fighting a ghost.
Yeah, so then Dishsoap obviously rages a little bit there. But yeah, so those were a couple games Dishsoap played in his 3-2 augment selections. Let me know what you think about this style of video. I might do the same type of video for 2-1 and 4-2 augments. But yeah, hope this helped you guys. Best of luck on your climb. Peace.